The surefire way to cure overthinking. Dentist, please. Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keels Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 99 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com.
Helping you build freedom without losing your edge. This is the Going Long podcast with Billy Keels.
The surefire way to cure overthinking, dentist please, is going to be a very brief episode, and it is for you if you have ever suffered from overthinking, getting these negative thoughts, and those negative thoughts and overthinking are actually keeping you from what is going to give you the most relief in your life. If that has ever been a case or is currently the case that's happening to you, just hang on with me just for a couple minutes. This is going to be a very brief episode, but I want to share something with you, and I'm going to share something because I want to be very I just want to share something with you. I'm not even going to use the words that everybody likes to use nowadays, but it's a story that's happened to me recently, and I realized how much overthinking and negative thoughts can stop just getting relief. And somebody who I am over 50 years old now. I've got my extra gray hairs and I've got my life experience. But one of the things that I have been very, very fortunate with in my life is having a good set of teeth and not having any issues with my teeth or any of that kind of stuff. Generally speaking, if you're watching the video version, you can tell me. I've never had braces, never had any of that kind of stuff. But let me not digress. But the thing is that recently I had an issue, and so the dentist was part of the solution. But because I had very little to no experience other than going to have checkups at the dentist office. Of course, I've had a couple cavities every once in a while, but I've never had anything major with my teeth. But like the thing is when I found out I had this issue with one of my gums, this may be a little bit more of a graphic episode, but it's really important. And basically just going through life every day, really cool. And then all of a sudden I started having this issue with my gums, and it started bothering me more and more and more and more. And so I went to the dentist. And the dentist told me it was something that could potentially happen depending on how one of the cavity things that he'd done a couple of months back evolved. Well, let's just say it didn't evolve in the way that it should have. So I wanted to just kind of move on from the process. I thought I was going to go into the dentist's office. He's going to go, hey, look, I'll give you an antibiotic and everything is going to be really, really cool. But when he told me that it looks like what he'd done a couple months before, it wasn't going to solve it, and that the thing that we needed to do was actually extract the tooth. Oh my gosh. Like the thing that went through my body was like, it wasn't about moving on from the issue at this point in time. It was like, I wanted to feel safe in the process. And I had all of these ideas of what it was like to get a tooth pulled in. But I knew that I wanted to get on the other side of the tooth being pulled because I just wanted to be in relief, right? And not have this scare. So I'm going through like literally from the time we had the doctor's appointment and for a couple of weeks, and I'm thinking through this whole thing, and should I do it? Should I not do it? But I had to do it, right? Because there was no other I guess there was one other option, but didn't want to go through the other option. And I thought, well, okay, this is something that's going to give me the relief. It's going to get me on the other side of what I wanted to do. So kind of go through this whole like mental thing, never gone through anything like this. And so what I needed to do was, I just wanted to decide on the process. So I decided on the process. We're going to get the tooth extracted, and kind of went through it. So of course, I like to go through my little plans, and I like to make sure that everything is organized. And so what did I do? Well, it was something that I wanted to do. So I called my friends who had already gone through and had their teeth extracted, right? To kind of figure out what did they go through? What was it like? And most people were like, it's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. And of course, in my mind, I'm going, oh my gosh, this tooth is like perfectly in and where it should be. And I got these shared experiences from people, but in my mind, I had this like negative thing. I'm going to go in, and even with local anesthetic. But I got to a point where it's like, you know what? I can't ask anybody else any more things. I can't read any more articles. I can't see any more videos. I actually have to go through it because it's something that I decided I wanted to do. There were other options, but this was the option that I chose. So I could check with others that had been there before me. I could read all the articles. I could see all the theory, but it was my turn to actually go through with the tooth extraction. And why do I say that? Because as I was overthinking all of this stuff and I was creating all of these ideas of how painful it was going to be and all the things that were going to happen, once I locked in and it was time to go, it was like, look, I'm going to go through and get my tooth pulled, because this is going to actually give me the experience on the other end that I want to have, which is not to have this issue with my gum, and to also be in a point of, I know what this process is like and I know what the outcome is. And so as I went to the doctor's office that day, and I'm going, I'll tell you, when I went there, my nose was sweating, my armpits were sweating. I was super nervous. The inside of my hands were sweating. And I walked in, and I think the receptionist, she could tell that I was like super nervous. Forehead was sweating and all this other kind of stuff. So I go in and I sit down and I finally get in the chair, and it was like, I felt my mind getting like lightheaded. But the reason that I tell you that is because it was something that I was very unfamiliar with. It was something that I knew that I wanted to do, and I was having a physical reaction to all of this. So I didn't do anything. I just relaxed. I didn't listen to any music. I just sat there in the chair, and I went through and like was in touch with my body and how these feelings were happening. I got the local anesthetic, and then you know what? My dentist taught me exactly what was going to happen. He took me through step by step. He recognized, like, yeah, this guy's experience, he's got kids, they come here and blah, blah, blah. His youngest son had his tooth pulled, and it was easier than this. But he explained the process to me, exactly what was going to happen. He was going to give me the local anesthetic. He was going to leave. He was going to come back. So I knew, when I actually recognized the steps that he had explained to me, that he was following a process and that I was going to be safe. I was going to be in good hands. And so even though I had my emotions all over the place and I didn't want to actually have my tooth extracted, and at the same time, I knew that I wanted to get to the other side of the tooth extraction so that I could actually start to feel like I wanted to feel. I went through that. Like there was all these different emotions running through my mind and physical reaction that was happening with my body. But you know what? When the couple of minutes went through, the doctor came back. He started talking to me. He puts this thing in my mouth exactly as he said he was going to do. He's having a simple conversation, and quick, and I didn't even recognize it. Like as simple as this is, you're watching me smile at you in the camera, or you're driving in your car going, oh my gosh, I've been through that. I know what that's all about. The thing is I got through it. The tooth was removed successfully. But more importantly than that, I realized how much your thoughts can control, especially the negative thoughts or the overthinking things, in terms of being able just to get to the result. Now, did it happen perfectly? Was the tooth pulled perfectly and no extra issues and stuff like that? Absolutely not. There were issues on the backside, but guess what? My mind was overthinking this process so much that I delayed it for a long time. I finally went through it, but guess what? I've now been through the process. I understand what it is. I can help to explain it to others. And at the same time, I recognize that the thoughts of the unknown create a worse reality than what is real, right? Than the reality. And so when I recognized that, yes, I was safe in the process, I understood what it was because I was there with a guide who was helping me get to where I wanted to get, which was a much better feel on a day-to-day basis. And after a couple of days of feeling uncomfortable, yeah, I'm here to talk to you, share the story with you. Because if you've ever suffered through anything that was overthinking, or your negative thoughts are keeping you from actually taking action towards the progress that you want to make to get to the feeling that you want to feel, talk to somebody who's been there before you. Talk to a guide. See how that person can actually lay out the process. And when you start to see that the process that they've explained to you, they're following the steps because they knew what they were talking about, you're going to be safe. You're going to be fine, right? So if you've ever suffered from overthinking, if you've ever suffered from having too many negative thoughts because you were not taking action, the thing that's going to help you, the surefire way to cure that overthinking, is to take the action, is to get informed, take the action, and move towards the outcome that you're looking for. I wanted my mouth to feel better. So I went through the steps. I got my guide, and I found the person that could help me. And the process that they explained and the process that we followed got me to the result that I was looking for, which was to be here, to talk, to smile, and feel like this is helping you to be able to move forward. So listen, while you're thinking about this, go from thinking to action if you've ever been to the dentist, hopefully you can relate to this story. And if you're going to get a tooth extracted, it's not that bad. You go through it and you're going to be fine. So, while you're thinking about this, while you're talking, while you're sharing this episode, talking about it with family, with friends, and breaking through and curing your overthinking, your negative thoughts, guess what I'll be doing? I'll be right here preparing for the next episode. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very, very much.